And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Hello, I'm National Weather Service meteorologist Peter Chan with your Alaska Marine Weather Outlook on this Saturday, November 16th, 2024. And we start with the sea ice. The ice is growing now more quickly as a result of Arctic air that is overspread. The northern areas of the state continues to seep southward. The ice, though, in areas here of the Chukchi Sea and along the west coast still isn't thick enough to be really much protection of the shoreline when it comes to high winds and battering waves. And we do have a strong system that's going to bring in some very windy conditions along with some heavier snowfall and blizzard conditions to areas of the Seward Peninsula and up down here along the northwest coast, including the western Brooks Range as we go through late Monday night, Tuesday into at least Wednesday morning. But colder air will continue to make inroads south. We're going to have widespread readings, especially at nighttime below zero. So this ice will continue to grow and expand, with the exception of maybe down here along and south of the Bering Strait with these stronger winds. There is going to be a push of milder air coming in from the southwest that could kick temperatures back up around or even a little above freezing in places like Nome and Savunga. So tonight into early Sunday morning, low pressure over the northern Gulf is slowly going to head south-southeastward and weaken. It's this high over the north slope that's going to begin to build and head southeast. By Tuesday afternoon, we expect the potential for a 1050 millibar high over the lower portion of the Yukon Territory. Meanwhile, the system out here along the Asian coast will be working its way inland across eastern Russia, but it's this front, it's going to pull in some much warmer air. We have this ridge of high pressure, strong high pressure, surface and aloft. It's going to have some very warm air. You just go 2, 3, 5,000 feet above the surface. The air is going to be much warmer over this region by midweek. So this is the leading charge as that warm, moist air heads northward into the colder air over the west side of the state here. That's going to bring heavy accumulating snow and the potential for blizzard or near blizzard conditions with those strong winds. Late Monday night, especially Tuesday into Wednesday morning, this would be areas of the Brooks Range, especially from Point Lay, Point Hope down along Kotzebue Sound, north side and west side of the Seward Peninsula. So stay tuned for the potential for some winter storm watch being upgraded to some sort of advisory or warning. The low over the Gulf will continue heading southeastward and weakening. Now on Sunday, winds across areas of the Panhandle, inner channels, southeast 15 knots, Ketchikan to Petersburg. Waves could be as high as 9 feet here, Dixon Entrance. Northwest winds 10 knots, 2-foot waves, Lynn Canal. There will be colder air over the northern Panhandle with the potential for some areas of light snow or snow showers. Onshore flow 20 to 25 knot westerly winds south of Sitka, swells 16 to 17 feet. Winds go more easterly outside of Yakutat Bay and Cape Suckling with waves 9 to 12 feet. On Monday, winds will be southeasterly here in the southern part of the Panhandle, around Ketchikan and Metlakatla, 15 knots, 7-foot waves, but northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with 2 to 3-foot waves, Lynn Canal down through Stevens Passage. And for the outer coast in the nearshore waters within 15 nautical miles of shore, south and then easterly winds 15 to 20 knots, waves running 11 to 15 feet, and even more of a northeasterly offshore flow there at Cape Suckling as we go through Monday. Now, these stronger gap winds, we have colder air that's coming in on this northwest flow, so we expect 50, 55 knot storm force with winds with gusts to 65 knots. That's approaching low-end hurricane force gust. Waves lower Cook Inlet outside of Kamishak Bay, the Barren Islands, could be as high as 20 feet on Sunday. Northerly gales 35 knots here within Prince William Sound. 7-foot waves, upper Cook Inlet, Knit Arm, and so forth. North winds 15 knots. So the strongest winds will be in this area of lower Cook Inlet, Shelikof Strait, northeast side of Kodiak Island on Sunday. By Monday, still brisk winds in that area, but not as strong out of the northwest to north at 40 knots with 10-foot waves. We expect northeast winds, upper Cook Inlet, Prince William Sound at about 25 knots on Monday with 4 to 5-foot waves. Now on Sunday, strong winds here within Shelikof Strait, northwest winds to 50 knots. 65-knot gusts possible. There also could be suspended ash being picked up by the wind there from the Katmai area. And then as we trail down along the Alaska Peninsula, those winds generally northwest to west, they fall off from 35, 40-knot gales to 30-knot westerly winds there, either side of Cold Bay and False Pass. And on Monday, still northwest to north gales at 35 knots around Kodiak Island. And as we, on the North Pacific side, we're looking at 35 to 45 knot gales there east of Chiknik. On the north side out of Bristol Bay, 30-knot north winds and 35-knot north gales north of Cold Bay with waves 13 to 14 feet. Eastern Aleutians, winds will be 25 knots there around Dutch Harbor. As we get further west, they try to flip back around to the southeast and east through the central Aleutians, 15 to generally 20 knots. And then winds will be more out of the east-northeast. And once you get out toward Kiska and Shemya at 20 to 25 knots. And for Monday, we expect north-northeast winds over the eastern Aleutians, still holding up around 30 knots there on Alaska. But as we get out west of Adak, they're going to shift back toward the southeast at 20 knots and then pick up to southerly gales of 35 to 40 knots as that stronger frontal system works its way along the eastern Russian coastline, where there will be even stronger winds. Now, in the wake of the system, with the low sitting out here over the Gulf, we have northwest winds, Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Bay, 30 knots, west winds, 30 knots, Pribilov Islands as up to St. Matthew. Along the lower Yukon coast there, Hooper Bay, Macquarie, north to northwest winds 30 to 35 knots, 7-foot waves. North winds 15 knots here within Norton Sound. And for Monday, still northerly winds 30 knots here out of Kuskokwim and Bristol Bays. The winds are going to try to turn more southwest there, St. Matthew. Still north winds 20 to 25 knots, Norton Sound and along the lower Yukon coast. But by Monday night, those winds are going to start to turn around as that frontal system works its way up here, just kind of outside of the screen up through the Bering Strait. So on Sunday, we still have northerly winds through the Bering Strait at 30 knots, 6 to 8 foot waves. The winds become more northeasterly, fall off to 15 knots once you get north at Point Leyte and Wainwright. And then along the Arctic coast here, the Beaufort Sea coastline, northwest to west winds 15 to 20 knots. We are going to see winds pick up in this area Sunday evening, so there could be increased blowing snow Point Thompson on over to Kaktovik. That's Sunday evening through Monday evening. And then on Monday, the winds are going to start to pick up. Still not showing yet during the day on Monday, but Monday night into Tuesday is when we're going to see this area really see the winds increase as that frontal system comes in up along eastern Russia. So winds on Monday will be northeast to north 20 knots south of the Bering Strait, 4 to 6 foot waves. Kind of a mixed bag of winds through the lower Chukchi, though, trying to turn more toward the south-southwest, Cape Lisburne up to Wainwright. And then along the Beaufort Sea coast, west-southwest winds 20 to 25 knots, Utqiagvik through Prudhoe Bay. But you get east of Prudhoe Bay, we're looking at westerly 35-knot gales with the potential for blowing snow and reduced visibility, Point Thompson on over through Kaktovik. As a result, there is a winter weather advisory for this area Sunday evening through Monday evening due to reduced visibility and snow and blowing snow. So stay tuned to later forecasts, because the system that's going to impact this area here, the Bering Strait, western, northern side of the Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, especially in here, the southwest slopes of the Brooks Range could really get some heavier snowfall, 6-12 inches with blizzard conditions. So I'll have more on that coming up in Sunday's video.